Could we have this revolution here, as is actually happening now, or so it seems, in France and Israel? There's effectively a civil war now in Israel and in Holland, where a mass movement of workers and farmers have achieved a big victory in Parliament. So they are now the biggest party in Parliament. They're not a majority, but they're the biggest party. And they want to end all this World Economic Forum lies and crap based on man-made climate change, used as an excuse to destroy farming. Well, Haiku mentioned that this needs, at some point, physical resistance to the police and the army. And it has happened in little bits here, but it will happen more. Right now in court, we've just had the Hyde Park 4. There were people who were resisting the police in a mild way here. 2 of them have been sentenced to suspended sentences, and that happened last week. And we should give them every support, including supporting their costs. And we've also got the BBC Two, me and Angela, who were arrested recently outside the BBC because she had done some graffiti. She got arrested, and then I was resisting her arrest. And me, and also one of the guys of the Hyde Park 4 was also there. He was also arrested, but he hasn't been charged yet. So there's the BBC 2 or maybe 3 on the way. Now, what has happened in the last week or so, showing developments here, and they're very important. First of all, on the 15th, the Ides of March, Sadiq Khan, we warned you, the Ides were nigh, and they happened. We had our big demonstration outside the St Pancras Hotel at the St Pancras Renaissance Hotel at St Pancras Station.
Are you inviting us to dinner,
where the mayors from around the world have been invited by Sadiq Khan for a Healthy Cities conference. Now, their idea of healthy cities is lock you down. You stay healthy by not driving your car and being imprisoned in zones. So we had demonstration against zoning, and my car managed to get itself stuck across the road, which actually was not my intention, but that stopped the traffic, and then anyway various things happened, and I backed into another car, or who actually backed into me or drove into me. Very weird. But anyway, that happened. But the point is, we made a really big impact, and they even spoke about us inside. So every time Sadiq Khan turns up, he has to admit we're present outside. He called us all far right. Far right for objecting to being locked down, or objecting to having to pay to travel. It's insane. What is far right about it? But that's all he can say. They've got nothing to say. All they can do is lie and use force against us. And the next thing, very important, last Friday, the adjournment debate in Parliament, that's the end of the week in Parliament, Andrew Bridgen was speaking about the data from the government on vaccine injury and damage. And he showed conclusively, using the government's data, that for every so-called person saved under their figures, dozens are. So the whole thing is completely insane. It should end now.
That's right.
The jab programme must end now. And what happened in Parliament? Did all the MPs come in to applaud Andrew Bridgen? No. The whole of the opposition, every single opposition MP walked out. And all the government MPs were there, bar 3 or 4. No, 4, actually 5, one of whom was just waiting for someone else. So, in order to say, I didn't know, they have to run away. They are complete, utter cowards and do not represent us at all, and must be swept away. Right, so after meeting Andrew Bridgen and listening to him, a dozen or so of us met him in the central lobby. Actually, more of us met him, twice as many met him there, of the public, than were MPs in Parliament listening to him. Isn't that insane? What is going on? And he told us that basically they are scared and running away and do not want to admit it, because Big Pharma and the World Economic Forum are blackmailing, bribing them, scaring them, telling them they won't be able to stand next time and so on. However, we will stand from below and sweep them away next election. You wait. Or even we will have changed the situation completely. And after that meeting with Andrew Bridgen, a number of us stood on the spot where King Charles I was sentenced to death for treason against the people in 1649. And I made the point there that we now have our own king, another Charles, doing the same thing. He is following what the World Economic Forum want, not what the people want. He's got to serve the people, not the WEF. And MPs now are also committing treason. This is serious. We have to, prepare for all eventualities and learn from what's happening in Holland, in France and Israel. And one of the biggest things forward for us now, and I think this is going to be the issue which will change things in Britain, it is the zoning. We've got masses of people now supporting us. We were in Trafalgar Square yesterday and everybody there was taking leaflets and saying yes, bar an infinitesimal number of morons and idiots holding XR flags or clapping for, well, I don't know what they're clapping for. Freedom of rights for people who were trisexual or whatever. I don't know. I couldn't understand what some of those banners were about. But they are completely off the scale of sanity, those people now. And they're getting less and less support. We are getting mass support for opposition to the ultra-low emission zone in London and all the zoning in other places. So please, follow those events. But it will happen. Every town hall is now under attack. People are going there saying, what are you going to do to stop this ultra-low emission zone in London? 11 of the 19 outer London boroughs are saying they oppose. But what are they actually going to do? What you've got to do is ask them one thing. Are you going to refuse the ULEZ cameras? And if they say yes, say good, and then say take down all the other cameras there for low traffic neighbourhoods or all that stupid stuff, 15 minutes into the job. Take down all the cameras. In fact, let's chant that. Take down the cameras. Take down the cameras. Take down the cameras. Yeah, no, you weren't.
Did you see that Boris Johnson called for people to resist ULEZ?
But he didn't say defy.
He didn't, but it's a start.
The ruling circles are now splitting. They don't know how to handle it. They know there's mass opposition that could surge up at any moment. Suppose next time we could call a day of action, attack every town hall in the country and demand they end this zoning. We could do that. Think about that. That could happen. That could happen. Right now, let's take things as they come. But there is resistance everywhere. And on Tuesday, I'm going to be going to Colchester to join a debate there where the people have been asked to be consulted on one of the stupid councils, our environmental equality, whatever committee, right? And they're going to say a number of things. One thing they're going to say is, one, councillors, if you knew that man-made climate change was bollocks, would you carry out this nonsense? And of course, they're going to say, don't know. And we're going to say, well, let's have a public debate about this then. Let's see what happens. That's Colchester. But there's others all over the country resisting via the town halls and demonstrating in the streets. Okay, another thing happening. On Monday, sorry we jumped today, Monday the 20th.
That was last week.
No.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Going to Colchester on Tuesday, which is the 21st, I think. Yes, that's right. On Monday the 20th at 3 o'clock.
We're all having lunch at yours.
Well, okay. I'll have lunch at Churchill statue in Parliament Square, ready to go into another debate in Parliament, this one in Westminster Hall committee room about keeping cash, because keeping cash is crucial to defeating their leg 6 of the New World Tyranny, namely biometric ID and cashlessness. That is what they're after. That would be total control. We have to have total resistance to this and say no to all this cashless society and yes to keeping cash. And a week's time, or next Saturday, the 25th, there's two things happening. One is there's going to be another march for the backs injured and demand compensation for them and spread the message about that, which is very good. That's Parliament Square, and it's 1 o'clock. However, I won't be there because I'm going to be at a conference called the Real Left Conference about how to resist the World Economic Forum. Now, it's an interesting conference because it's got together in it people who were some of whom might have supported these concepts in the past. I don't know. But really, the concept of left and right is now nonsense, in my opinion. So I would say anyone is welcome to that conference. Come online, stopnewnormal.net or our various websites, my Telegram or our Telegram, Piers _Corbyn _StopNewNormal. All the information is there, and it's going to be in Islington, where which is my brother's constituency course. I doubt if he'll be there, but he is going to be invited. Oh, he is going to be invited. Andrew Bridgen will also be invited, but again, he might have to be in Leicester. Well, I really don't know. Probably neither of them will come because it's, they often don't to those sort of things. But nevertheless, we have to think. We've got to unite all people on a common, united front and completely do away with this middle ground nonsense. We will more and more be attacked by the so-called middle ground. There'll be splittists in the movement trying to confuse us. We have Together operation who turn up on demos holding up little placards, #Together, and then try and lead people away into stupidity or not turn up next time or cancel demos or whatever. And they always limit what they do and only tail us because they want to pretend they're in charge so they get interviewed by DB News, who are controlled opposition and will never interview people like me and others who actually been resisting ULEZ from day one. Never say never. Well, no, indeed, because I have been on the BBC and ITV and they regretted having me. But that's why they didn't have me again. But,
That's the slogan.
That's because you're a very naughty boy.
That's the slogan.
Piers on the BBC.
Yeah, Piers on the BBC.
You never
They
behave
will
yourself.
invite me and Heiko at some point. They will.
You're
So,
like the naughty boy in
look out
class
for
who distracts everybody.
Okay, well, I hope you give them lots of money, guys. I'm only here for the money, of course. No, don't say that. Some of the people really. That was a joke, J-O-K-E, by the way. But, there's people around who will say these things. No, I've bankrupted myself to be part of the struggle. But we have to do that because we have an historical choice for humanity now. And as it's always been said, revolutions happen in curious, mysterious ways. Right. Suddenly an issue comes up and says, what's that important? What's it matter about driving cars? Who cares? But look, what's it matter about the date of retirement? Change it by a couple of years, who cares? But no, these things can trigger violent, it doesn't need to be violent, but trigger total social change. That is what can happen. And I think now it is happening. This year, even this spring could be the spring which changed the world. And I'll end there and say, resist, defy, do not comply. Resist, defy, do not comply. Resist, defy, do not comply.
Piers Corbyn!
That's the word.